gallery is Walter Maciel Gallery in Los Angeles. Social media, the Instagram tagline is Walter Maciel Gallery. It's M-A-C-I-E-L is the last name. And we are featuring 5 artists who are all women who deal with identity in their work. And all at different levels of their careers. So all in Japan around, all California artists. 2 in the Bay Area, 1 was in the Bay Area, she's deceased as of this summer, and then 3 in Los Angeles. So the first artist here is a younger artist named Dana Weiser, who's based in Santa Monica, and her work's about her identity. She's Korean-born, adopted into a Jewish-American family. So a lot of her work's about her experiences, inherent racism, and just her experiences of being Korean in the world, but culturally Jewish. She often will explore different craft modes like embroidery, which is traditional in Korea, and she'll master it and do series of work that are based on that craft mode. So this series is taking these traditional Korean fabrics and then doing imagery. This is more about her California life with her garden and the hummingbirds. This is a more traditional Korean image of a wedding of a couple, and she removes any traces of their identity. This is a self-portrait, a series she did, kind of dressing her up in these traditional Korean folk art masks, using kitschy materials from Koreatown in Los Angeles. Then moving on, the still life relates to the figure, so the artist is Katherine Sherwood. Katherine often references art history by recreating works from the past. This particular body of work is 17th century women artists, and kind of giving them the due credit that they didn't often receive in their lifetime. This is an artist named Josefa de Vidios, and she will recreate the image with these kind of pattern forms as the draping on the counter for the still lights, and then she incorporates her brain pattern, her brain scans. Katherine had a stroke at the age of 44 in 1998 and left her paralyzed on the right side of her body. So a lot of her work is about her personal experience, either her brain scans. You'll see when we get over to the other side of the booth, her figurative works, which bring in signs of disabilities within art historical figures. Next artist is Lezley Saar, LA-based painter. She's from the Saar family. Her mother's Betty Saar, her sister's Allison. Her work's about being mixed race. She's a black woman who doesn't look black or isn't perceived as being black. And a lot of her work is these fictitious settings where she creates these characters that often, they're always mixed race with a different colored hair, eyes, skin color. And this particular work is from a 19th century, it kind of references a 19th century novel by a French author named Weiser called Against Nature. And she's creating what she calls these conjurers, these different figures that all have different powers or special attributes. So this is Ozile, and she's a clairvoyant. This is Love, and she's nostalgic about the past, so romantic. Always painted on fabric. The artist I mentioned earlier that used to be in the Bay Area. Unfortunately, she passed away this summer of pancreatic cancer kind of quickly. Very important Chinese painter born in China, came to the US in 1984. This is an earlier painting from 2000. And a lot of Hung's works about the worker or the peasant and kind of bringing recognition to their past life, which was kind of overlooked. Always working from historical photography. She also works with the American Photographers Archive, Dorothea Lange. So she does both Chinese and American subjects, or did, I should say. She currently has a show at the National Portrait Gallery in Washington, D.C. that opened 3 weeks after she died. It'll be up through next May, and then she also has a show up until next March at the De Young Museum in San Francisco. And then Katherine here again, this is her figurative work. This particular series or piece is referencing the American painter Frank Duveneck from the 19th century. Again, taking this traditional nude and then applying a new situation for her with a disability that's often referencing Katherine's own personal experience. They're also painted on the back sides of these visual maps that once were used at UC Berkeley, where she taught to teach art history before slides. So they have a history with the university where she taught for 30 years. And again, you can see the brain scans, and the hair and the face. And then the last artist here is an LA artist named Carolyn Castaño, and she's Colombian American. A lot of her work's about her heritage. She recently had a show at the Orange County Museum, which was about her father's migration from Colombia to Los Angeles. And this series with the figures is indicative of early explorers that were coming from Europe to the Americas, would often reference or would often indicate the Americas as a fertile young woman, nude woman, kind of the giver of life. So, and it's often, documented in that format. So she's doing her own version of these nudes, set within landscapes that are referencing the flora and fauna of Colombia. Her family's from Cali. A lot of this is about the surrounding jungle areas of that part of Colombia. And working with found fabrics, the sequin panels are from synthetic fabrics from downtown LA, and commenting on the overproduction of these kind of fabrics that end up all over in landfill around the world. And she works on all different surfaces. This is actually on watercolor paper that's then mounted to canvas, working in the appliques like the parrot there. This is another series of hers dealing with the subject of the sun, the symbolism in Aztecan culture, and all the patterning is from Aztecan pottery that she contemporizes by using these really wild neon colors.
Very nice pieces.
Thanks.
And they match? You're a match.
Yeah, today they do.
You're gonna get back in there and tell me your social media handle again?
Yeah, it's Instagram Walter Maciel Gallery, Facebook Walter Maciel Gallery.